Alive. Hi, everyone. I am not sure exactly the timing on this, but it is saying we are live now. We're doing it a new way, so you should be able to see us in the Facebook group if I did this all right. Are you all seeing this yet? And I'm seeing myself. Yay. And I'm going to pin it to featured. Good morning, everyone. What is it? This is a new way of doing things. But let me introduce us. This is Gardening Tips Live. I am Amy Hahn. I'm a Knox County Master Gardener, and I'm joined by my friends and fellow Master Gardeners, Lee Cheek, Toby Johnson, and Brian Townsend, who's joining us from the parking lot at Dixie Lee Farmers Market at Renaissance Plaza.
Right.
And I'm noticing my camera is a little low. I'm going to bump it up just a tad. Okay. Oh, I'm going to bump it up just a tad. Aha, I heard myself. Okay. We are figuring out a new way of going live, so hopefully you're all able to see us in the group a little bit easier than in the past. Oh, Roseanne said she sees us. That's awesome.
Hey,
And
Roseanne.
I'm going to do our tag of at everyone. You can click into the video, but you don't have to anymore. And if I'm understanding things right, even if you do click into the video, we will see those responses also. So you can comment on the post, on the post itself, or click into the video and comment there. And we'll see it both places if I'm understanding the new way right. So that'll be a big improvement. Well, hopefully you guys have been like I have been. You got rain.
Woohoo!
Rain.
We got rain here.
Yay. I got rain too.
It's heavy sprinkle. It's not really that bad.
Well, I'm talking about this past week.
Mm-hmm.
This past week, I got
2.5 inches.
What?
2.5 inches.
Ooh, I'm jealous. I only got about an inch, but I'm still happy.
I got 3.5 inches.
We got nothing.
Nothing.
It's so frightening. Western Washington, you would think, it's supposed to be
Oh,
rainforest
yeah.
over here. Our grass is brown, brown, brown.
Yeah, Toby is actually in Washington State, so that
I'll
is
be back in
a little
September.
bit different. Yeah. I'm actually going to click into the video. Like I have been. There's my voice. Okay, because it is little bit easier to monitor comments and things from there. Yeah, the only thing I don't know is I know we've been having some of my Facebook friends, my personal Facebook friends joining us periodically, and they might not be seeing this the same way, but I'm more concerned about everyone who's in the gardening tips group than my personal Facebook friends, even though I do care about them. Okay, so yeah, we got rain. The other thing I want to caution people about is I know I had one person and they looked at the rain gauge and it's like, I got 4 inches. And I looked at where their rain gauge was, and it was near their gutter. And I was not going to argue with her, but I really do think her gutter overflowed with the downpour, and that's what filled up her rain gauge.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have your rain gauge in the middle of like your yard or something,
Yeah.
so that plants and other things aren't mucking up the rain coming down.
Right. And there's guidelines about that. I think it's supposed to be like 10 feet from like a major structure or a tree. Now, you can't always really do that, but to just get more accurate readings, because I know another person that they have their rain gauge near the house, but it's on the side away from the prevailing weather direction. And so I think she actually gets less in her rain gauge than the soil actually gets. So yeah, placement is important. It's also important for temperature. If you have a thermometer out there to monitor the temperature. Certain placements can really impact what reads. It's like, I know we have a weather station, and it's in the perfect place for the rain gauge, but I think it gets a lot of reflected light from the south-facing hill it's above, and it always reads really hot. So there's guidelines for rain gauge placement and thermometer placement if you're monitoring temperature. And it's interesting to watch. Rain is important because then it tells you whether you need to water or not. And I did look at the forecast, and over the next week, there's about an inch or so predicted. And the kind of plants I have in the ground right now, and with our weather cooling a little bit, that is going to be enough for what I have in. Some plants are more water hungry than others. And so it is important to know what you've got. Okay, I'm going to start our slideshow. This is something we've talked about. I've talked about periodically through the years, and many people around here have fig bushes or fig trees. So this is, let's see, what is it saying? It is giving me a message that I don't know if I need to do anything about. Oh, add description. Why is it wanting me to add a description? I don't know. I'm not going to. Oh, why is it? It went to a calendar event. That is odd. And you guys probably don't even see that because that's not the window I have shared.
Nope, I don't see it. Yeah.
Okay, let me get this out of my way and get back to the one I want. Okay, now I'm back to the window I want to see. Okay, don't know why that popped up all of a sudden. Computers. I will blame it on computers.
Elisa says hello.
Hello, Lisa. Good to hear from you. Yeah, it has been a long time since I've seen your name. Oh, okay. So my fig bush, I did not get it pruned this year. You'll see a lot of dead branches in it, and it is valiantly trying to make figs. And so oftentimes what happens when it's putting on a lot of figs, it's August now, these might actually get ripe. I'm hoping for it. I might go in and do some pruning, but I've been talking about that for months and it hasn't happened. So I'm not sure it's going to happen this time either. Yeah, Brian.
What variety of fig is that?
Unknown. It
This
is the one my mother-in-law's father grew in Fountain City.
All right, okay. So you got brown turkey, Celeste. There's a couple of other ones that do fairly well here, but those are the two most common.
It is definitely not one of the most common ones. Brown turkey, Celeste, or Chicago Hardy. The leaf shape is wrong. Figs have really distinctive leaf shapes. And the fruit size and shape is wrong. So I don't know. Now I do have a second fig bush. It's up here. You can't really see it. It got hit a little harder and it doesn't grow back as vigorously. And I'm pretty sure that one's a variety called Hunt, just because it's leaf shape and the fruit and all that. But it really is, there are hundreds of different fig varieties. If you are interested, there's a website. It's Figs for Fun, but the 4 is the numeral. They have a listing of like hundreds of figs. I think that's where it is. Or they have a link to the place where it is, where you can look at, it's a picture of the leaf and the fruit, and you can compare them with what you have. And I've gone through a lot of them and so far have not found this particular one. Yeah, some of them
Huh.
have really skinny lobes on their leaves. Some of them, the lobes are more joined. You know, there's just all sorts of different fig varieties. And then there's different colors of fruit and sizes of fruit. So it's an interesting hobby. Though I am a little concerned. I've had 2 different people this year whose figs, the roots of their fig bush died. You know, it died from the roots, and
Howie.
really don't know why. I know figs are very susceptible to root knot nematodes, but there was no sign of that. It's just the roots rotted out. So I don't know if it was all the rain early spring, and that's what one of them I saw in person, and then the other one was described to me, and they sounded the same. But those are the only 2 I've heard. So hopefully, if you've had that happen to your figs, let me know and we'll pursue it. I've thought about pursuing it through extension and seeing if I could find out anything about that. Okay, Lee.
This is my okra that finally is starting to bloom. It got shaded out by some our Jerusalem artichokes. And anyway, so I was happy to see it finally blooming. It's very short for okra.
Yeah, how tall is it? How tall is it? It's hard to tell.
It's less than 2 feet.
Oh, that's
Wow.
tiny for
Yeah,
okra.
yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
must not be very happy.
Yeah, at the UT Gardens, our okras are taller than I am.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I've had 10 and 12-foot okra for sure
Uh-huh.
some years, but they do want a lot of sun and heat.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's another one of yours.
Yeah, that's just my tomato plants. They're producing tomatoes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you said, what is it? They were sort of neglected and not watered enough for the early part of the season.
Right, they were not. Yeah.
So that's part of why they're so
Yeah.
small.
I went to bury my mom and dad in Washington State for a month,
Mhm.
and they were neglected for a month.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so that really impacted them. So
Yeah.
plants but they're coming on and they're going to give
Yeah,
you a good fall crop.
they are. They are going to give me a great fall crop.
Yeah. So this is some of my tomatoes. And so you can see they're a good bit larger than, now mine are different varieties. But this is how mine tend to look this time of year. The bottom has gotten hit by early blight. And I'm pretty sure I do have a bit of septoria leaf spot. And then this is my favorite tomato variety here, Thornburn's terracotta. And let me zoom in here. One of the things we were going to talk about is, as we're getting into late summer, it is time to think about, when do you give up on a plant and pull it out? When do you kill your darlings? And so this is a darling that is ready to go. There's one more tomato on it. I'm going to let that ripen, and then I'm going to pull the plant. Now, these other plants have so much lush top growth, I'm going to leave them. The 2 that are biggest are actually early girl. And then there's a big beef, but it's got a lot of fruit. And then there's a second big beef here with a good bit of fruit. So I'm not going to end those ones. They're still going well. And many gardeners will prune off all the damaged leaves. This year I'm doing good to keep them watered when they need to be, and getting out there and picking them. So,
Miss Amy,
yes, Brian.
if we don't prune those leaves out, we do want to keep them off the ground.
Yes. And that's the trellising, is keeping them off the ground, or keeping them off the ground, getting rid of them for next year. Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is a good idea to remove them. Though, if you have grown tomatoes in an area, probably early blight is going to be in your soil no matter what you do, but you want to do things to prevent it from splashing up onto the plant in the early season. Okay, but I am getting lots of fruit, and that is the goal. I mean, my goal is tomatoes. And that is some of why I do plant hybrid plants that have a lot of disease resistance. The Thornburns terracotta is an heirloom, and it does not have very much disease resistance. Okay, this is some of my beans. Did you know there are quite a few different species of beans? So there's the normal green beans that come in bush and pole bean, and that's what this one is here. And I truly do not know why it has dropped all the leaves down here. But it has dropped all its leaves. I know it is getting shaded a little bit, and so that might be it. It also has set no beans, not a single bean yet. Now this is it's a bean, Roger Newsom. It's an heirloom, and I think it is considered a fall bean. So I'm looking forward to seeing what is it going to do coming into fall. And these cartons you see, I put those in to protect the new seedlings when I planted them, and I didn't get them out. Some of them I did. So that's why they're open at the bottom. They're not a container. They're just essentially a cylinder around it. But I really don't know why it's dropping all its leaves on the lower part. Plenty of leaves on the upper part. Now this one right here is a southern bean, which is a different family. Now this one right here, oh, there I am, is a southern bean, which is a different family. Okay, someone's got their volume on, yeah. Okay, so this is a southern bean, and so it's probably considered a half runner or a semi-bush. It put a lot of growth on, and now it's doing runners up. And it's called whippoorwill pea. So they're also called southern peas. And they're in a different family. They're actually in the same family as the Asian long beans. So if you're wanting to save seed, you need to plant one or the other. Bees can transport the pollen, even though beans are usually self-pollinated. Okay, so this one is just spotless. I mean, they're beautiful. I'm getting some pods off of them. And so they're going to be a lovely bean. You can use them fresh or green or dried, but you don't eat the pods on these. You do have to shell them. And then this is another bean that I have really enjoyed growing. I haven't had a lot to eat at this point, but I think this year I'll have quite a bit. This is a red lima bean, which is also an heirloom. And they are untouched by the heat. They haven't dropped their blossoms. They've set beans. This is the other side of the plant. You can see more of the blossoms. But it's just lovely and just really not reacting to the heat like some of the other plants are. Okay, and so this is looking at my arch trellises. The second one here is actually the lima beans. This one here is cucumbers on one side. This is an early, more of a snacker type cucumber called green light. And then this is a volunteer morning glory that just looks really nice there. But you can see the cucumber is having an issue. And let me look, there's a close-up of the issue it's having. This is downy mildew. And it's characterized by these angular spots. So it is still setting fruit, so I'm leaving it, though a lot of the fruit is curved. That really is an indication of the plant getting old and incomplete pollination. So that's an indicator of those things. Okay, so there's that. This is my other cucumber row. These are all long cucumbers. We have, a couple different varieties. This end is Summer Dance. This end is Lime Crisp. And the center is a long cucumber Grex. It's a mixture of different varieties that have been grown together. And so they're doing much better. I think a lot of it is they do get more airflow. Okay, and then this is the one, this is in the long cucumber Grex. I have this one that I'm saving for seed. So this cucumber is really long at this point, and it's starting to turn yellow. And so I'm going to wait until it turns quite yellow to make sure the seeds inside are ripe. I also saw this little critter. I don't know what's going on. I haven't seen very many bugs in my garden this year. And it might be because I had a very minimal garden last year. Sometimes if you take a break, it sort of breaks the life cycle of some of the pest insects. And it takes them longer to find your garden the next year. Okay, so this is a one of the instars, one of the nymphs of a brown marmorated stink bug. And so that is not something I want. I wasn't sure enough to kill it because there are beneficial stink bugs. And so I don't want to kill those. And I know I have those in my garden too. But so he got to go happily along his way today because I wasn't sure who he was. Okay, this is another thing I see, occasionally. I'm out in my garden a lot, and I look over and my lilac bush has a whole section that's dead. I need to investigate more. If you notice a plant that has a section that's dead, there can be a couple causes. I do suspect something that we'll see later in this. Yeah, Brian.
Howdy. Do you know which variety that lilac is?
I have no idea.
Okay, because there's only one that is adapted to this far south. Lilacs are better adapted further up north. And depending on what you're saying right now, if it's on the sunny side of the tree right there, it could be sun scald.
Yeah, it could be, but this is a lilac too. So this is two lilac bushes next to each other.
Ah, okay, okay.
And this is actually the one that, this one would be more shaded than this one.
Right, yes.
So I almost suspect my bunny rabbit has been taking liberties. But if he is, why isn't he taking liberties with all of them? They'll eat the bark off because it's got nutrients in it. But
if they only chew on one side of it.
Right. I don't think that's it.
Right.
So I'm not sure what's going on, and I need to investigate.
Yeah.
I noticed I'd actually noticed some damage at the bottom of this one, but the top of it looks fine. And ignore the morning glory that's growing through it. But I don't know what's going on. But one thing I want to say is it's really important to take a picture at least this far back if you're putting pictures up in the
right.
group.
Yes.
Take a picture that sort of shows the whole bush or shrub, shows the ground around it, and then take a couple closer up pictures, which I didn't do here, to show exactly what's going on. Because sometimes, like with it being just one side, that tells me something. It's not something that's going on with the whole shrub, because this part of it looks great. It does look like one main branch has died for some reason. And so what I want to do is I want to go out there and I'll pull all this stuff, pull it back and look and see what's going on here. Did my husband take a weed eater, and sort of go around this part, and did he girdle it? Cut the bark? Probably not. But something's going on with that main branch. And It is awful late to prune a lilac, and you really don't want to do heavy pruning right now because that'll cause a flurry of new growth.
Right.
And so you don't want to do heavy pruning right now, but if something's, I mean, that's dead. If something's dead like that, you can definitely cut that out. So I'll try to report back with more information next week. Okay, Lee.
Yeah, so went out for a walk yesterday, and there was this little itty bitty chicory blooming, and it had been an area that had been mowed in a park. And so it was like usually you see chicories being really tall, but this was blooming because it had been mowed.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing about chicory is they open and close their flowers. They close their flowers at night. So sometimes you won't see them and then you'll all of a sudden see them.
On our mud compost last night, I mentioned chicory, and I
Oh,
gave a
cool.
web link on their care.
Uh-huh.
Also from a UT extension, from an extension source, but also from the Herb Society of America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are one of the plants that was brought in by settlers. And it was a pretty common coffee substitute or addition to coffee
Right.
through the years. Let's see, Lee.
Yep. So this is my Joe Pye weed that is getting ready to bloom.
Oh, nice. Let me zoom in on that because it's a little hard to see. There we go.
Yep.
That's lovely.
Yep. It's about bloom forth,
Wow.
feed all the bees and the butterflies.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the bees have been busy. You can sort of tell that's probably bees. They look like half circle cutouts.
Yep. Uh-huh. Yep.
So that probably means it is the native leafcutter bees, which are really beneficial. Okay.
And so we have our brown-eyed Susans are falling
Mm.
over. These are ones that I did not Chelsea chop, and so they weren't as strong and as some of my others that I did give them a good chop back. And so and not only I had this problem, but I believe Amy.
I had this problem too. So my brown-eyed Susans fell over in a recent thunderstorm, and they're already turning their little heads up to the sky.
So
Yeah.
what's the chop you when would you do that chop and how far down do you chop it, Lee, if you were to do it correctly?
I would chop it 1/3 back, and sort of our last week to do it was back in mid-July.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a blush of blooms and then you chop it back.
Yeah. Well,
So you get
actually,
a second blush of blooms, or are there no blooms at that point?
yes, it could be either.
Okay.
So you can chop it back, and there are no blooms, and it'll give you a new flush. It has bloom, and it'll give you new flush.
Okay.
And it'll
Cool.
also make the plant stronger. And that's one of the things with native plants is they tend to go really tall.
Mm-hmm.
And when they go really tall, they get sort of weak. And so what we want to do is to make them a little stronger, you want to cut them back about a third of them the way back. And I've
Mm-hmm.
gone as far as halfway back.
Yeah.
I took a class from a gentleman at over Hill Gardens,
Okay.
and about chopping, cutting your natives back if they're too tall and too lanky.
And we're talking about pretty much all the herbaceous, the ones that die to the
Yeah.
ground in the winter, not the woody things.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to chop down your
Right.
hydrangeas that grow on old wood.
Yeah.
You
So it
wouldn't
is
want to
important
chop
to know what
down.
plants you're dealing with.
You're like, why don't I
Yeah.
have any blooms at all next year?
Yeah.
And the Chelsea chop, I posted in a link in the
Mhm.
chat. The Chelsea chop comes from the Chelsea Flower Show, I think, because That's the
Yeah.
time of year when people do the chop. So I put a link into the Royal
Oh,
Horticultural
nice.
Society. Last spring we were on a trip to London and we went to the, I think I showed pictures here of the Physic Garden, which is in Chelsea.
Mm.
And we walked by where they do the Chelsea Flower Show, like
Oh,
where the
cool.
park where they did it. But of course, nothing
Yeah.
was there. It was kids playing
Right.
football.
And one thing to be aware of is, both Lee and Toby posted references about the Chelsea chop, and the reference from England will probably have a slightly different timing than
Yes,
would.
yes. More
Because,
historical and contextual.
yeah. Well, and also their climate is different. Okay, we're at 37
Latitude.
and they're like 50 some.
Yeah,
So their seasons are different. There's when they go from like the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, to their shortest day of the year, there's a lot more difference. And so their day length is changing faster. And
yeah,
so their plants don't have as much time to flower,
yeah,
after that longest day of the year in June.
But they
yeah.
do have similar amount of rain.
Right, they have a similar amount of rain and maybe more than us,
Uh-huh.
but they do lose the daylight, and so they have to do their chop a little early. We have more margin
Yeah.
than they do. Yeah. Okay, and then this is what is it? A really cool plant that accidentally got cut back this year. Um, it's called cutleaf coneflower, also called sochan, and is a historic crop for the Cherokee in our area. And they actually do have special permission to go and harvest it in the Smoky Mountains as a food crop, which is really cool. And I have tried it, and it is a really nice food crop in the early spring. Okay. Morning glories and bumblebees, very nice. And then there's a fly on, that looks like Cosmos. Is that?
Yeah, that's Cosmos. And so this is, when your Cosmos starts to turn brown like this,
Mhm.
it's almost ready for you to collect the seeds on.
Oh, cool.
And you can see a one on one edge of the picture where
Mhm.
it's
Right
almost
there.
turns into like a star, and
Mhm.
then you're ready to collect seeds, or you can leave the seeds and it'll reseed itself yourself as well as provide food for birds.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Okay. And then this is just a friend who came visiting in my yard this morning. He's a regular, or she. Yeah.
Yeah, I said I went to the park yesterday, and here was this heron.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
Cool.
yeah. So
Beautiful. And that is the end of the slideshow, though I think Toby has some photos for us. Let me find
I
the button to
do.
stop sharing. There we go.
Let's see if I can share. I'm gonna see if I can share. Let me see. You. No. No, that's not it. Wait a minute. Hang on just a second.
Okay.
I haven't like done it this way before, so I'm like, okay,
Oh, okay.
I
Something
found it.
new and different.
new and different.
Yay!
Yes, we have been experimenting.
Play
We've been
slideshow.
experimenting with new and different.
We have.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what gardeners do. We
Yep,
are
that's what we do.
Definitely.
always experimenting
I'm
in our
trying to see how I can go full screen. That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, okay.
And I guess I don't necessarily have to.
No. And you can just share that particular window.
Yeah.
And it'll be full screen.
Yeah, I think it'll show the side, but that's okay. Let me share.
Mhm.
So you can see unfortunately, like I'm trying to figure out how to get it to go full screen, and I did figure
Oh,
it
look
out
at the
earlier,
deer.
and then,
Hmm.
huh?
I said, look at the deer.
So
Yeah.
pay no attention to the thing on the side. I just don't know. Like I'm window.
Oh, it's not showing that way in the Facebook group.
It's not showing
Oh,
the
it is showing the bar on the side.
yeah, I'm trying to
Oh.
keyword minimize zoom, tile window to the left.
Mm.
You
Oh.
hang on a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, well, I'm not going to dinkle around with it.
Okay.
So, you guys can see my deer.
Yes.
These are two brothers that I believe that they're the same brothers we saw last year. I'm pretty
Oh.
sure they're brothers.
Oh, cool.
They had fewer, their horns were smaller last year. I'm pretty sure it's the same dudes. And I just keep wondering when they're going to start fighting and not hang out together.
Oh. Oh.
Because they're getting huge.
Yeah.
You know, they are the size
Yeah.
of small ponies, and they are very fat. And they are fat because what are they doing right now? They are eating the apples in my orchard, and my apples aren't really
Yes.
ripe yet. So we haven't had a chance to eat our apples.
Oh.
So the birds
Right.
already took out all of our cherries. So I learned that
Mhm.
lesson that unless I cover my cherries, the birds will take every bit of our
Right.
cherries. And they take it in like one day.
Yes.
Mm.
It goes fast. That they get in
Yeah.
there and they peck all the way around, and all you get is a stem and a little seed at the end.
Yeah. Oh, Toby, I think I know what you need to do. There's next to the zoom in button to the left, there's an arrow.
That?
Try hitting that one. No,
No.
that didn't do it. I'm
Here,
sorry.
let's see
Yeah.
if I can do the no. Okay, sorry. I figured
Yeah.
it out. Let's see. Edit.
That's okay. We can see it good.
Yeah. Have you named the brothers?
Have I named the brothers? No. No. But oh, wait a minute. Enter full screen.
Yay.
Yay. Can you
There
see
you
that?
go. Beautiful.
Excellent. Okay, so these are my brothers. And they will come and eat our apples, and then they will sit there and suck down the bird seed. We have safflower seed in our feeders because safflower seed the squirrels don't get. They don't like safflower. It's a little more expensive than black oil sunflower seed or other bird seed, but squirrels do not like safflower. So we put safflower in our bird feeders. But we found that deer do. So they will just sit there and like suck on it. So they're loving it. They just wander through, graze, get into the apples. Unfortunately, they also break some of the branches, so we have to kind of go through. But they are beautiful. They're just and they're so graceful. So we're like, well, we're going to share our bounty with our wildlife. A few weeks ago, or about a month ago, I talked about our hugelkultur boxes. You'll remember if you were watching that we filled these beds, and I wanted to show people what's happening. So we planted plants, and we planted some seeds. So we did starts and seeds together, and stuff started growing, which is great. And this is inside our grow house, which I was going to put we took the poly off of it because it was starting to rip, and poly doesn't last forever. And I was going to put more poly on the sides, but I didn't. And we don't have any pests, and we don't have any deer getting in, and we don't have any rabbits getting in. So I'm like, all right, nobody's discovered this bounty. But there's lots of stuff in our yard people can eat, or not people, animals. So our philosophy in our yard is to recycle and reuse anything that we take down in the yard. So we took down a few. We have a real issue. I'm in Washington State right now for the summer. And in our property, we have a real issue with, there's some trees that are dying, and they're dying because of the drought. So it's sort of like not drought, but like the dryness of the area is we're starting to get drier and drier and drier due to climate change. So we're getting just it's just getting drier and drier and drier. So some of the trees, the native trees are really struggling. And then when, this property used to be all forest. And so when it was clear cut for build a home and to have livestock, I think the people who first owned it had livestock grazing on, because we have quite a bit of grass. That when all of that got taken out and all the undergrowth, that also these trees get stressed because there's nothing in the, on the ground level to keep the moisture in. So, we have several dead trees in our yard, so we cut some down and we're going to be reusing for firewood because we have a wood burning stove in our. We're just about to get a new wood burning stove because they make them much more efficiently now and they're much less harmful to the environment. So, so things are growing, and today I wanted to just show some things, again, with our philosophy of reusing anything that we take out. We cut down some alder saplings because there were a bunch of trees growing together and we had to prune some things back. And so we have alders are generally grow where there is moisture, and they're sort of like big giant weeds. They'll grow wherever there's a little bit of water. They're very opportunistic. And so the wonderful thing about alder is their trunks and their branches are super, super straight. And so when we were cutting these saplings down, I said to Chris, my husband, I said, let's keep these because we can use them for trellising. And at the time, he didn't really know what I was talking about. So this was our first trellis, and you can see those peas. Those were a little bit stressed because it took me a long time to build these boxes. So they sat in trays for quite a while, probably too long. The fascinating thing is I put this box because they're a cool season vegetable, and I planted them in the summer, which, that's not the best move, but I put them on the side of where we get the most shade in this long grow house, because we have a shop right next door on the right-hand side, and it shades in the afternoon. And we have been picking, once in a while, we'll pick a pea shoot or a pea pod or two, and now there's growth. This is not a current picture from this week, but now there's green growth. So they're continuing to grow through a warm summer, which is blowing my mind because they're a cool season vegetable. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And Chris is like, those are dead. I'm like, no, they're not. Look at all that green stuff. So I'm learning about the climate here and how it's different than the climate in Tennessee.
Yeah,
So
because here in Tennessee, really,
those would never be going right now.
the
They'd
only
be
peas you
fried.
could plant would be southern peas right now.
So these are like, Asian peas that you might put in a stir fry. So
snow
peas,
edible pod
yes.
peas.
Yeah, snow peas. So, so you'll see I planted some other things, kale, etc. But what I really wanted to show you was we took some of our alder branches and started making trellises. And I wasn't quite sure when I started what kind of trellis I was gonna, I've been researching for a couple weeks, like, well, how, there's a million and one ways. Here's the cool thing about trellising. So trellising is for viney plants. If you wanted, you could leave your tomatoes and they could vine all over the ground, or your cucumbers, but it's not a good idea, as Amy said earlier. If there is, and there usually is, disease in your soil, then it's going to impact. Plus, you're putting your fruit right on the ground where all the pests are. It's not, trellising doesn't guarantee you don't have pests, but you'll probably have more pests. And in the Northwest, we have slugs as a pest. However, I will tell you, I've seen one spider, and we've seen bees come through because I've planted nasturtium and marigolds, and so to attract pollinators to this part of the garden. But we have not seen any slugs. I have not seen any at all, knock on wood. Any type of, I think one, like our basil has a few, chew holes in it, but not really. There just isn't. And all of the seeds that I planted by seed every single plant is growing, which is blowing my
Wow.
mind. It's like so lush, and this is the perfect spot.
Mhm.
You know, we got lucky. You know, you have to test your garden, and I got real lucky.
Yeah.
So back to the trellising. So we just took zip ties, and I said, you know what, for the I'm just going to use, you know, just a two-sided sort of triangular trellis for
Uh-huh.
my cucumbers. So we put these branches together, we zip tied them, and we had a few vertical, I mean horizontal branches. And then I kind of stood back and I said, we can either zip tie straight up and down and make a grid,
Mhm.
or we could take twine and run it back and down. And so that's what we ended up doing, because I said, you know, cucumbers, you're not really going to attach them because
Mhm.
they're very delicate. And if you mess with their vines too much, they break really easily.
Yeah.
So I said, and they have tendrils that love to climb on things. So I started
Mhm.
thinking to myself, what kind of trellis and what kind of architecture would work best for this particular plant, right? So
Mhm.
what I decided, and if you see there, like this particular plant likes to climb straight up, but actually this past week, and I don't have a picture of it, I put some twine all the way around the bottom and did a couple of layers of just twine
Uh-huh.
all the way around the bottom, so that as they grow, because they're still growing and I'm still getting green, I'm getting new shoots. So I'm like, okay, well, let me help these. So when you're trellising and choosing a trellis, you don't have to buy stuff from the big
Right.
box store or wherever. You don't have to buy anything. Go through your garden. If you have anything, it could be cattle panel, it could be
Mhm.
fencing, it could be leftover wood, it could be tree branches from pruning. There's so many different things you can use for trellising. So back
Yeah.
to, you know, my thinking on this, I thought, well, you know, these cucumbers, they have little tendrils. You don't want to handle them a lot. You want to let them grow, and they will climb.
Mhm.
And in Tennessee, I have trellises for cucumbers, and they usually go up and then they go over because the
Yes.
trellises aren't tall enough. And so the other thing I wanted to do was make these quite tall so that the cucumbers could really, and the nice thing about a trellis that's on a triangle is that the fruit will drop down in the inside and you can reach in and pick. And so
Mhm.
you can really see what's up. So that's what we did. I
It
just,
also helps with the airflow
yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
to prevent diseases.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't have a lot of
Mhm.
downy mildew or anything on they look fantastic. They look fantastic.
Oh, good.
So we spent, you know, an evening, just my husband and I just think these are beautiful.
Mhm.
They're like homemade furniture, except we
Oh,
have zip
yeah.
ties. My husband went through and cut off the ends of the zip ties, but I'm like, yes, that's the only thing. But there you can see, and then I have other seedlings. I have in the front of these, I have some green beans and some other things. I really
Mhm.
did some companion planting and some planning around these. So we really love how these came out. So we we
Yeah.
we gently and so they're starting to take off on their own. My husband goes out from time to time and just nudges a little, you know, and
Oh,
he's
cool.
like, he's getting really involved. He
Now,
used to
did you
not be.
get the UV resistant zip ties?
No, we did not, but I don't think it's
Okay.
going to matter too much
Probably not.
because we're already mid-season and,
Right.
and
If
we're
you're
leaving in a month. So
right around here, around Knoxville, if you're starting something like that, the beginning of the season, and use zip ties, you want to make sure they're marked UV resistant.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not sure if these are or not. I
If
should look at the
yeah,
packaging.
Brian.
Typically, the black ones, if you
Mhm.
buy the black zip ties right there, I almost always see those as being UV resistant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Okay,
you don't
but
have to go ahead,
go ahead.
Brian. Go ahead.
Um, one thing I have found is a roll of soft Velcro tape, green colored. It's
Mhm.
a half an inch wide. One of the downsides of using zip ties and other narrow string and stuff like that right there is if we have a lot of wind, it cuts into the plant stem.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
the
don't think Toby's
half-inch
using it
Velcro,
for the plant.
right? But the
Yeah.
half-inch Velcro tape is a lot gentler, if you can use that word right
Yeah.
there, on the
Right.
stems.
And I'll talk
I-
about that in a minute with my
I'm
tomato
sorry.
plants.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so the other thing to know about where this is located, because I was noticing this the other day and having a conversation with my husband. In Tennessee, our garden gets the wind. It's on the
Mhm.
side of the house, the wind comes through, there's no windbreak really, and it gets the wind. This garden, this grow house is between our
Mhm.
shop and this side utility shed. And it gets hardly any wind at all. It's
Hmm.
never windy in there. So, those are the things you got to think about when you're trellising.
Yeah.
How much do you need to tack down things? We didn't spend, I don't have anything tacking down. Sometimes I'll take string and I'll tack down from the top and I'll like stake it into the ground, because if the wind comes through in Tennessee, it'll blow the whole like thing off,
Mhm.
right? The other thing we use in Tennessee is we'll use cattle panel with steel fence posting.
Yeah.
And we'll take two pieces of cattle panel and put them like this, and then
Mhm.
put at the end. And we use zip ties then, and they work. So
Yes.
there's lots of ways to trellis, is my point.
Mhm.
Let me show you, and you can see on the left how that kale has grown up. And in the left-hand box, you can see this butter lettuce. It's going like
Mhm.
crazy. We got cilantro, we got some green onions. I've got dill growing, which is crazy. I'm like,
Mhm.
really? Dill in like August? This is crazy.
Nice.
Anyway, so it's a very I'm pleasantly surprised
Mm.
with the lushness. So, and this is a late planted garden. We didn't plant it early enough. I'm
Right.
learning now you got to get going way earlier, which we didn't have time and we weren't here and whatever. So
Mhm.
that's the final product. So you can see, and we really gently tucked in. And in the sides of these boxes, we have green beans on the left-hand side. And then I can't remember what we have on maybe carrot. No, I can't remember what's on the back side of that. Oh, I know, radishes. And I've already been harvesting radishes like crazy. Radishes from the garden are so much better than from the store. Okay, so this is the other trellis we built.
Mhm.
This is a tomato trellis. And so we didn't necessarily want to do sort of a triangular. I just wanted to do a straight up.
Mhm.
And it's actually attached to the top of, see that bar across the grow house? We actually attached it there, and I actually placed the box and planted the plants with that in mind. So I planted the plants a little bit to the side of the box, and you can see we have a ladder out there because there's no way we'd get up there without it. And we did poles across, and you can see how straight that alder is. It's like that is like an 8-foot long.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so straight, right? So we started, and I thought about putting string in, and I'm like, you know what? It's not really necessary. I could do a grid with, I could have done a grid with, but you know what? In the end, I decided to do more traditional of just tying my tomatoes off. So I just tied them to these horizontal branches, and you can
Mhm.
see. And Brian talked about Velcro. There's a few different ways to tie off tomatoes. One is just twine. And in Tennessee, twine is risky because it's so humid there and it will disintegrate. In the Northwest, believe it or not, I think we're not as humid in the Northwest right now. So I'm not worried about that.
And Toby's talking about this jute
Yes,
twine.
exactly.
It comes in
It
big
will-
rolls.
Yes, it will in Tennessee, it will kind of
Do
disintegrate.
not use it for the Florida weave
Yeah.
technique of supporting tomatoes.
So what should you use instead, Amy, for Florida weave?
Oh, I actually have it right here.
And I use the Florida weave as well. I
You can
planted
get
some tomatoes
this
for my dad.
this stuff, and it's actually marked tomato twine on the box.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
At some of I know you can get it at Knoxville Seed and Green, and I'm trying to remember where I got this. I probably got it at one of the Ace Hardwares, and
Mhm.
it's just a polyester twine or is it
Mhm.
nylon, or
Mhm.
it's a synthetic twine, and it is just really tough and lasts half of forever. So you do have to pull it out and throw it away
Mhm.
in the
Yep.
trash. Where I'll use the jute twine, like I've used it for bean trellises. They're not that heavy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I can just cut the whole thing off and put it in the compost.
Yeah.
It does take quite a while to break down.
Yeah. So, and like Brian said earlier, there's also like green Velcro tape that I've used in the past for tomatoes.
Mhm.
It's pretty easy. It's very gentle on the, because tomatoes, you know, you got to give them a little bit of give because they're, you know, if you tie them
Mhm.
too tight, when they grow, you know, their stems will expand and then they're kind of choked off.
Yeah.
The other
Restricted,
thing,
yeah.
the other thing there is if you grow a ton of tomatoes and you hate tying off, there's this kind of stapler gun thing. I don't even know what to call it, but
Mhm.
it will, when you close it, it will put tape, like sort of stretchy
Yeah, it
tape.
wraps it around.
Yeah, it's really, I don't even know how it works. I'm like, how can that work? I don't understand.
Yeah, I'll look that up because I know it's available through some of the garden supply places.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. We don't have enough tomato. We only have one box of tomatoes. We don't need that.
Yeah,
But
but those are cool.
yeah, so you can see the tomatoes are trellised up now. We have lettuce, mixed lettuce on the left-hand side that I need to start harvesting. We also have pepper plants. We've harvested some poblano peppers. We've harvested some tomatoes from the bottom of some of these plants. And then we
Mhm.
have basil in the front. I don't know if I have any pictures. Um, yeah, you can't really see, but um, there's some,
Mhm.
here we go. Let me do this. So you can see some pepper plants up front and you can see at the bottom basil. And some of these plants, like in the middle, that's a Cherokee purple. And we
Mhm.
bought that as a plant versus starting our tomatoes.
Yeah.
I couldn't start stuff today. I got here too late
Mhm.
so we have a mix of plants from seed, the lettuce is from seed, the basil's from seed, but the peppers and the tomatoes. Now, peppers in the Northwest, and you can see we pruned them. I also went through and pruned everything so we don't have anything close to the ground, but we've already been picking tomatoes from the Cherokee purples. But we prune them up so we make sure that the leaves aren't close to the ground. This is giving airflow. And also when we're watering, the splashback is not going to, but you see very little
Mhm.
blights, if any. So it's pretty phenomenal. The only thing we found with these new boxes is the soil that we bought raised bed soil,
Mhm.
and and I expect these tomatoes to go all the way to the top because they're all
Mm.
indeterminate. I don't think I have a single determinate tomato in here. So what we found with the soil, it's raised bed soil that we got in bricks at a big box
Mhm.
store because, you know, it was just how we were going to do it, to make it a little bit easy on us rather than getting a scoop. But we're finding that when we water, that the water is, because there's a fair amount of
Mhm.
coconut coir in the mix, that it's getting stuck and getting absorbed in the top layer. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So yeah, I see you, Lee. So when you're watering to, any kind of vegetable, you want to put your finger way down and make sure stuff's going through. And
Mhm.
I think that's it. Yep, that's it. So
Okay.
that's my trellising story. Super fun. Love how beautiful they turned out. And my takeaway of all of this is you can trellis with anything. You do not need to buy a
Mhm.
trellis. You can trellis with anything. People use all kinds of things to trellis with. So be creative.
Mhm. Yep. Gosh, it's gone fast this morning.
Yes.
Yeah. So, um, what is it? I guess the week is over. Be sure to keep an eye on your weather. Um, one thing to remember is if you have tomatoes that are starting to blush, they're just starting to turn, and you have a thunderstorm heading your way, go out and pick them because that's when
Yes.
you'll really have stuff split.
Yep.
Um, and make sure your plant supports are in good shape when those thunderstorms come in. And I think that's it for this week.
Yep.
Happy gardening, everyone. Be sure to check out the competition listings for the State Fair, East Tennessee Valley Fair in September. And have a great week gardening, and we will see you all this next week. And let me figure out how to stop this. Happy gardening, everyone. Bye, y'all.